Hey guys! Welcome to my channel. Today I will be starting a new series, and this is going to be the Fairytale series where I will be choosing a new mystical creature every now and then, and I will make a sim who I think could potentially turn into that mythical creature, and I will be building their house. And right now we are building Farah Burnwood's house, who can turn into a dragon in my story. And I also did a create-a-sim. I recorded a create-a-sim of her, so that will be coming up in the next few days. But right now we are building her house. And you can see me working on the floor plan here, and the floor plan took me a pretty long time because I wanted it to look a bit weirdly shaped. Like it shouldn't be like that. I didn't want it to be symmetrical. I didn't want it to look normal, I guess. So I built a large platform and a tower that's sort of leaning to weird places that it shouldn't be. And I made the platform a really weird shape with all these corners that stuck out and all of that. So the main idea around this house is centered around the platform, because the story goes that this lady, Fairy Burnwood, I'm sorry, I just came up with her name, so I'm still getting used to it. She can turn into a dragon, and when she gets home, she's flying and she needs a place to land. So I made her a big platform. Kind of like a helicopter landing space sort of thing, and I think it's going to be bigger than it is right now at the end, but yeah, I just made a big platform where she could potentially land if she were to suddenly turn into a dragon. And I put a very low fence around it. You can see me doing that now. I chose the other fence I started with at the end, because, you know, I don't think dragons that can fly are particularly scared of falling off a building, so I didn't put a full fence around it. I only put a small fence around it. So actual story time. When I was younger, I was pretty obsessed with fairy tales, and my favorite fairy tale was this story about a talking goat and three brothers and their father. So these three brothers took the goat to eat on a field every single day, and when the goat got home, he would tell the father that they didn't feed him enough, even though that wasn't true. So the father told his three sons to leave, and they had to find a different place to live and work and earn money and all of that. And in every single place they went, so they all went separate ways. They all got a magical item that could do something, like a table that would sort of generate food for for that person, like the grilled cheese skill, I guess, in The Sims. And they sort of go on an adventure with that. And I don't know why that was my favorite fairy tale. It seems pretty weird because, you know, I was young and I was a girl. Sorry, I don't believe in gender roles specifically, but, you know, sometimes they sort of apply. So you would think that my favorite fairy tale would be something with princesses and princes, and I chose that one. But I think that's pretty funny. So if you have a favorite fairy tale from when you grew up or right now, please tell me in the comments below. I would love to hear. And back to the build. You just saw me sort of finishing up the floor plan a little, and now I'm putting in the stairs. I put them outside for two reasons. First of all, I like how it looks. It sort of fits in with the weird fairy tale sort of theme of this speed build, and it also didn't fit in the tower, so, you know, small detail. just a small detail. No, but you just saw me putting in the cheats without saving first. So if you have seen that video and you know what I'm talking about, please let me know. And the reason I chose dragons first is because I watched a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones. week ago or something, and I just kind of started in season 2. I don't know why. Somebody already told me what sort of happened before that, and obviously there are dragons in Game of Thrones. I don't know if that's a spoiler. I'm very sorry if it is, but yeah, there's dragons in Game of Thrones. I have been told that that is sort of the main focus, so I probably won't be spoiling anything, but sorry if I am. Yeah, I've sort of had that in mind, and I like the idea of dragons. I think they're actually pretty beautiful, at least, and how they are portrayed in media and stuff. And I just put in another stair because I like the idea of having a sort of seating area on the rooftop with like a low fence around it, because that sort of also puts out the idea that dragons aren't afraid to fall. And you know, when you're sitting on a tower that looks that unstable and looks like it's about to fall over, I wouldn't sit on there with the low fence around it. I don't even know if I would sit on there if there was a fence around it. So I like that idea because, you know, dragons aren't afraid of that. But it turned out that it looked way better when there was a roof with like a big roof piece, because it enlarged the entire tower. It made it look higher and all of that. So I ended up doing that. But I also still think it's a good idea of me to want to put a seating area there. So the idea for this series is actually to build the entire world, entire sim world, into a fairy tale world. So all the buildings will be replaced by builds like these. That are inspired by mythical creatures and fairy tales. And if you do have suggestions for any creatures or stories that you would like me to portray in a build, please let me know. And now I am building my favorite part, where I am putting in rocks that I made it's a bit larger, just a bit. And I actually put a lot under that first tower because there aren't any pillars and stuff that would support that, and I like the idea of it being supported by rocks. And it sort of gives off the idea that this house is built in a cave of some sorts, into a mountain, and I really like that because one of Farah's traits is actually that she is a loner, and I always see dragons as a bit of a loner because you know what I have in mind, they're always sort of in like dungeons and caves and mountains, sort of hidden away from the rest of the world. So I also put this house in the far corner of Oasis Springs. I put it in Oasis Springs because it obviously looks sort of like it's burnt. And I sort of had this story in mind that like hundreds of years ago the dragons came to this town and burnt everything down and then replaced it or something. I don't know. I like that idea and I like the look of it, and I think it really matched with the build. And I don't think I've mentioned yet that this build will be in 2 parts, because I did the exterior this time, and I will be doing the interior at a later time, probably in a few days. And I've yet to build that, but I am excited because you know, I usually work with open spaces. I've mentioned that a few times, and I just like the idea of you know, kind of giving myself a challenge to work with smaller spaces and a lot of corners and a lot of like hidden away spots. I kind of want to make it seem like she has all of these secret rooms and things she wouldn't want people on the outside to see, because obviously this house is pretty mystical. She's a pretty mystical creature. I also just messed up the roof because I didn't realize that this this room was uneven, so I just enlarged it at both sides, and that just made it uneven again, like I did with the door thing too, like I do a lot of the time. I'm not very smart. Okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not stupid or something, but you know, I can be. I can be both. Sometimes I'm pretty stupid and sometimes I'm pretty smart. It just kind of depends on what we're talking about. And the roof was the last thing I did to the actual building, I think. And the only thing that is left is me working on the yard a little bit. I put in some terrain paint like I always do, and this is one of my favorite things. I put in these large fireplaces sort of things, those, and I made one large and put a lot of small ones around it, and they actually light up, and it sort of makes it look like the rocks are partly on fire, and I like the idea that her as a dragon she came by and lit the entire thing on fire and all of that. And I just went into live mode and I checked if they actually did light on fire, and they did, and I'm pretty happy with that because I did a sort of similar build thing a couple of months back before I went on YouTube, and they didn't light up, so I'm pretty happy that they did this time. And I'm sorry if you just heard some background noises. I'm actually sitting in the kitchen and my brother just came by to get something to drink, and he was trying to be quiet, but I think you could actually hear it, so I hope you don't mind. And I'm almost done with the build now, so I will say goodbye right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, all of that. Please answer some of the questions I asked, like what is your favorite fairy tale, and if you have any suggestions. The link to all of my playlists will be down below, and to my previous video. And I hope I will see you soon. Goodbye!